Sorry about that.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna rewind these now. Giving you a chance to take a look at some of those. So we're gonna basically go through different parts of your stroke right now. So we're gonna start with the setup like we usually do on the boat. Okay, so I usually think of the setup as like if this is our toast, right? Because sometimes it's a little bit harder to visualize without the water. Okay, so we go back a little bit, back a little bit. So I say setup is like comfortable, twist, and lean. Okay. I think the camera might be like slightly angled differently on mine than yours. Whoa, mute. Okay. So I think your setup is okay. Couple quick notes, like this lower arm. Make sure even when you get to setup, it's a little bit more straight already. So you want to think as you pass through this, and we'll get through these different parts later. But you'll see, like as I go through my 2 gate, it's slightly bent there, but as I go into the setup, it's straight, right? Whereas when you go through your 2 gate, you kind of still keep it bent, right? Okay, so straighten it out at the setup, because it kind of leads to, you kind of straighten out a little bit more during the toast, but I want it to get a little bit more straight, a little bit more early. So the next thing I want you to think about is when you go from your setup to your toast, I want you to now try to visualize going forward to grab the water. Okay, so everything think forward, because right now your body kind of leans forward. I think both, so I'm gonna draw a quick line. I know that the camera is skewed a little bit, but I usually like to connect the ear to the hip. So you can kind of visually see what your body angles are doing, right? Okay, so this is your setup. Then we go into the toast next. So toast is when we're all the way out before we go down. So right around here. Kind of approximating where your ear's at, but. So my toast is around here. Okay? And you'll notice when I go from, next thing I'm gonna do is draw lines about like where our hands are. So your hand starts here, hand starts here. We go forward. Okay. So the hand, there was like a tiny bit of upward motion, but it's mostly forward, right? Same with the top hand.
So am I leaning too much forward?
Well, so right now, we'll get to that lean in a second, but I want you to think about
The arm.
your arms, because watch as we go into, actually that's not as pronounced as I thought it was. So that's probably actually okay. I think it's just aimed a little bit high. And then your top hand is kind of high as well. So I want you to actually try to aim. So maybe it's because it started here and it was just going up, up, up.
So your other arm doesn't go
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest difference. So the top hand is where I think I'm seeing more. So when you're going up into your toast and such, your top hand kind of raises up quite a bit high. So when I go from my setup here into my toast, it stays kind of right there. I mean, it's moving and leaning forward with my lean, but it doesn't go up.
Okay.
And then I think you already mentioned this with your lean. So when you get out of your recovery, so you'll notice even from here, right, or from this position, my back is a little bit more sat up straight, and yours is just very slightly leaned forward, right? That's already kind of lending it to ending up doing this, but I want you to think more of my arms are kind of moving, my core is retwisting. So you can see as I exit and go into the recovery here, my body is kind of twisting, but I'm definitely not focusing on leaning yet. Okay, and we'll get into the reason why next. So let me take out these.
Because I thought you're supposed to.
Yes. So you do want to do that, but I think it's just mainly the timing needs to be taken back a little bit. Because the next point is when we go into the catch. Okay, so into the catch at this position here. So you'll notice, oops. There's so I usually like to see like 3 different line positions. So you're going from your setup to your toast to your catch. Okay? And so when we look at this, your setup, your toast, and now your catch, because you've already leaned as far as you can possibly go, now your catch is not going to have that weight transfer. So you want one more angle back. So this angle that you're already in here should coincide with when you're in.
You're
So
not in yet.
right.
Okay.
Okay, so basically the beginning of your catch is right when we see this paddle going down. Right? Same with mine here. So I'm going to highlight this right now. I'm going to move our frames together. So here you're going to see both of our paddles start moving downwards, right? And what I want you to focus on is what your body is doing as you're catching in. So you can see my body here is going to have that lean forward onto the paddle as I'm going into the catch, right? But your body here is mostly staying at that position, right? So when you're doing your catch, it's mostly your arms trying to drive it down instead of body helping, right? So I think all I'm saying is let's relax a little bit more on your setup. So this, your paddle position, when you go through your 2 position, let your arms advance a little bit more before you start leaning.
Okay.
So I think the sequencing of how you're moving your arms in relation to your body, right now I'm saying let's move your arms forward a little bit more and then we're going to move your body. Because your body needs to lag slightly so that your arms get there and then your body can help put the weight on it, right? Okay. So I think right here when you finish your pull, I think you're sitting up almost all the way. I think just a little bit more will help. But then when you go through this exit and going into the 2 gate, okay, stay relaxed here. So you can see that like as you go into this 2, your body's already starting to slightly lean, and then even before you get to your setup, you're kind of leaning past so I would say this lean here should be your toast lean. And then this lean here should be into your catch. So what I'm trying to say is your setup here, so at this lean, what we have here, I want your arms to already be like further out. So let me do different lines. And let me unlock this. So at this lean, right, I'm trying to get your lower arm to be already out here.
So arm out first before I start.
Yes. So I think a really good way to work on that, even on the erg, is if you do some pause drills. So like we do, or gait drills, like we do on the boat. We always have you guys stop at 2, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you go into 3, make sure you're still going to be sitting mostly straight. When you go to 3, just literally just do this, just retwist, and stay mostly sitting up straight, and maybe lean just a little bit. But be careful when you go from 2 to 3, just try to make sure you're not already here, too far leaned forward.
Okay.
And then what we're trying to do is when you get into 3, and then when we ask for the 1 gait, we're looking for toast and catch. And it's only at the end of the catch that you stop leaning forward, right? Basically, it's like I'm planting the stake into the ground, and then I'm going to pull up. And you want your body to assist as much as possible through that. So if it helps, I mean, you can even try to do pause at the 2 gait, pause at setup, pause at toast, and then make sure that when you go into the catch, you still have some lean to go left into it.
Are you gonna send us the video?
Yeah, I'm going to be posting this online so you can kind of review it as well. Okay, so the next thing we're going to kind of look at a little bit is the paddle angles through the catch and into the pool. So I'm going to highlight these. This is the start here. All right. Okay, so let me draw some lines here. We can look. Okay, I'm doing this right here just to highlight a particular aspect. Oops. Oops. So I know we're pulling at different speeds, so I'm going to actually okay. So if we go back to the beginning here, there's only, so I like to draw this diagram because I like to tell people the top of your paddle should be the pivot point of when it's arching through this positive to negative angle. And so if you are staying true to that, if the top of the paddle is the pivot, then you won't ever be able to draw a line that's going to cross over the previous line. I think you only have a very slight crossover at that beginning of the stroke. Everything else is okay through the rest of it. So you are putting pressure the right way, but at the very beginning, as I'm going from my setup into the pool, there's that very slight crossover right there. For you, I think, I mean, different people are going to fix it different ways. For you, I think it's going to be a matter of setting your top arm a little bit lower.
Okay. Yeah, because
So that you're basically, I would say that this is similar to setting up your paddle maybe like 2 to 3 inches too high above the water before you start your catch. So that, oh no, I just hit clear. That'll help the angle at the very beginning of your stroke here.
Yeah, because my hand is way up there.
Yeah. So I would want you to try to bring it to no higher. Like I know some people are comfortable doing it here, but it should definitely not be a couple inches above your head. Okay. And then also the other thing that's going to help is what we talked about with making sure that when you get to your toast position, you're sitting up just a little bit more so that when you go into the catch, your body's going to help with the angling. Okay.
That's when I lean.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're leaning throughout. It's just you're going to wait to start the lean. So let your arms move into position a little bit sooner than your body. Okay. Okay, so through this pull, I like that I'm seeing a lot of your core untwisting with the pull. So that's really good. We just want to make sure that the beginning of your stroke right now is going to start it out a little bit more powerful. Okay, so let's see. Good. So this is good that you are definitely untwisting, and so I think you are utilizing power from the right place, especially when you get through like the meaty section of your pull. So we're trying to refine like the front end right now, so that part gets a little stronger as well. So even through like the meaty part, I think if you start with your top arm set a little bit lower, it'll help you out with being stronger through here too. Because when you get into this portion of the stroke, pressing down on it is a little bit easier here than it is to try to press down from up here.
Right.
Right. So I think that's all going to lend itself once you make that adjustment at the front end. Okay, so I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, making sure you sit up all the way. Like once you get into the follow through, let your body flow up into that fully relaxed position. So let's cover the back end real quick now. So right here, as you're getting to your hip here, I want you to actually start, like your power should be cutting off and you're just going into the follow through and coming back around. You can see once you get to your hip, you kind of push a little bit.
I think I'm trying to have a flare, so to speak, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll take a look at the front view too. I think what I'm seeing here right now is once you get to your hip, I still see your top arm trying to push a little bit back on this. And I see that you are doing the flare, but it's coming. So if you look carefully, I'm going back and forth right now. If you look at my top arm here, right as I hit my hip with that lower hand, like that's when I release. There's going to be some momentum just because we did some power through this way. And I think, I mean, there's a very slight difference. So I think that you're not pulling too far back. It's not too bad. I would say maybe just 1 inch.
Further.
No, just going, maybe putting power in an inch too long in the back. So right here.
So letting go sooner.
So right when you get your hip, like allow whatever energy or whatever speed there was. Because so if you were pulling really hard and as soon as you release,